Okay, so I am live. It is 3 o'clock in the morning, very first day of 2024, and just thought I'd come on and give some of the latest on the new warning in Japan of the tsunami. So let me play an intro and I'll be right back. Hey, buddy, how are you? Hope you're well too. Hope you've had a good New Year so far. All right, let's go right to this. I was just sitting around here doing nothing, so I figured I'd come on and show a little bit of this here. So there's been a earthquake warning and now a tsunami warning for Japan. So I'm going to butt into this feed here.
Reports of irregularities to the nuclear power plants in the prefecture. Once again, three prefectures authorities say there are no reports of
Because I can't find anything
to
else
the nuclear power
to.
plants.
Obviously, I don't think anybody's covering this too much right now. I know Agenda Free TV is
The
covering this
city of
too.
Wajima, Ishikawa Prefecture, has observed tsunami of
I
more
think
than
that's his name.
1.2 meters at 4:21
Yeah, Agenda
p.m.
Free
on
TV is
Monday,
covering it
following
too.
a major
But
quake
this
that
is
hit the
a
region. The
live
city of
feed coming
Tsunami
from
in Tsunami Prefecture
ALW
also
World
reported
News
tsunami of
here.
50
So
centimeters at 4:23 p.m.
so far,
Tsunami had been
the
reaching
New
the
Year's
Japan
not starting off all that
seacoast.
great.
Tsunami will repeatedly hit the coast and may become higher. People in those areas must evacuate immediately, stay on the alert, and escape to higher ground and go as far away as possible from the coast.
Right.
Once again, people in the affected areas must evacuate
Let me bring
immediately.
up a map.
You're risking your life if you don't. The time of the tsunami's arrival is just an estimate. Waves could actually arrive sooner or later. So continue to evacuate as long as the warning is in place. Head to the highest possible ground right away. If there are no raised locations around you, go far away from the coast or high up, tall, sturdy buildings. Do not hesitate or stop or go back to where you came from. Call on others to evacuate as well. Tsunami can be much higher than you expect. They will run up slopes and gush inland.
Hope everybody's well.
Repeatedly and grow in size. A major tsunami warning
True.
was issued for the 2011 earthquake and tsunami that killed thousands of people in northeastern Japan. So
Right, let's
do not
go
let your guard down
here.
and keep evacuating until authorities say it is safe to return home.
Let me
Also,
pause
you
this
see on the map
for a
areas in
second,
yellow.
and then I'm going to go here to the map. I hope you're doing well, buddy. So this is the border here where most of the warnings are, especially in this area in here. So if you know anybody that's over here, I do cover a lot of, well, not a lot of these, but usually when there are typhoons in here, I usually cover some of these areas here. So I'm a little bit familiar with this here, but like I said, I had nothing better to do. So if I start hacking, I promise I'll mute. So let's go back to
General Service for more updates. You're listening to NHK Newsline from Tokyo.
same. I don't know how you guys do New Year's down there, but New Year's used to be a lot different for me years ago when I was younger. Now it's just another day. Be honest with you.
uh, nuclear power plants. Regarding nuclear power plants, no report has been made for any
Yeah,
irregularity,
right in this
and
area here is where
any
there's
damage. Currently, information is being gathered for any damage on people or objects. And at uh, Prime Minister also said that the information, necessary information, will be provided to people as needed, and also information regarding damage should be collected as appropriately, and cooperation will be made with the local municipalities to save lives and make an atmospheric effort for rescue and relief. Now,
510. It's 510.
now this is the early earthquake warning issued. Please stay away from furniture that may fall down.
Is that right? Does that sound right? It's 510 over there now. 510 uh, p.m. Oh, so yeah, 510 p.m. makes more sense. Yeah, 510 p.m. It's 510 p.m. Monday, January 1st, 2024, uh, in Japan. So at least it's not nighttime.
Of Japanese scale 0 to 7 is possible. Please stay vigilant. Please stay tuned to the information coming from TV, internet, radio, as you take actions to evacuate. To repeat, due to this earthquake in
You have friends there in Japan?
affected, please evacuate to higher ground as quickly as possible or in the multi-story building. That is all from me. Thank you.
Oh, he was just speaking. Okay.
That was Hayashi Yoshimasa, Chief Cabinet Secretary. Latest information regarding the nuclear power plant, Hokuriku Electric Power Company.
You have a lot of friends there? I didn't know that. That's cool. I don't think I know anybody in Japan.
Was reported.
Look at
Information is currently being gathered to enforce the monitoring of the monitoring post.
So I think it was a 7
Intensity
point.
7 is registered. The the emergency
7 point
response team
something
is currently set up to gather
earthquake.
information and to check the monitoring post to check the radiation level. Now, regarding
Let me
this
go to
is the
Twitter.
latest information, updated information of the tsunami. Yamagata, Tobishima at 4:57 tsunami waves have been observed. Niigata, Sado, Washizaki at 4:32 tsunami waves have reached the coast. Niigata,
7
Sado,
point.
Washizaki, tsunami waves already reached earlier, but again at 4:32 p.m., another wave of tsunami arrived. Different places have reported tsunami waves. Wajima, more than 1.2 meters. Wajima City, the height is reported to be higher than 1.2 meters.
Hello, Lynn. How are you? I had nothing better to do because I'm up anyways. So happy New Year's. So I decided to cover this here a little bit. This is breaking news out of Japan. Actually, it's a tsunami warning, I think. So let's.
Higher waves are still possible in Noto region. Kiyonaga-san, the latest information. Could you give us the latest information? Yes, I've been observing the tsunami data and to see if there's any changes. Earlier, I reported to you, according to data, about Jima Port from around 4 p.m. The sea level has significantly gone up. So it's higher than the warning level. So Wajima Port, the sea level is still high and it remains high.
I'll tell you one thing. That's probably one of the reasons why I don't really celebrate New Year's that much anymore, because I don't drink. I used to drink years ago, and it was a lot more exciting. Nowadays, it's. I mean, I'm up anyways because I work nights, so it doesn't really matter. But we used to go down to New York all the time, watch the ball drop and shit. Nowadays, it's. I wouldn't be able to do that nowadays. I don't think I could handle that much people. I just couldn't. Things change, man, over time.
A major tsunami warning has been issued for the Noto region in Ishikawa Prefecture. Once again, a major tsunami warning has been issued for areas highlighted in purple, namely the Noto region in Ishikawa Prefecture. Tsunami of about.
So apparently a 7.6 magnitude earthquake hit somewhere in Japan, and now there's a tsunami warning for these areas here.
Prefecture, Toyama City,
Look at those waves.
Kashiwazaki City in Niigata Prefecture, Tobishima Island in Yamagata Prefecture, Washizaki City in Niigata Prefecture on Sado Island, as well as Nanao Port in Ishikawa Prefecture. Those are the areas where tsunami have already been observed. Areas highlighted in purple, those people living near the coastline, evacuate immediately if you haven't already. Once again, all residents living near the coast evacuate immediately and get to higher ground or move inland. Huge waves of at least 3 meters high are about to hit the coast. Also, areas highlighted in red, waves from 1 meter to 3 meters high, will be impacting areas if they haven't already. All residents in those high-risk areas head to higher ground immediately. Once again, tsunami have been observed already in Wajima City in Ishikawa Prefecture, Toyama City, Kashiwazaki City in Niigata Prefecture, Tobishima Island in Yamagata Prefecture, Washizaki City in Niigata Prefecture on Sado Island, as well as Nanao Port in Ishikawa Prefecture.
Hold on a second. I'm going to try to bring this up here. Because I got the map up now. So Wajima here, Sado Island here, and what else did he say? Toyama, right here. I know from history that this is where the first invasion of the Mongols took place, was in here somewhere, years and years and years ago. Right, so let's go back to this.
An update in Ishikawa Prefecture, Kanazawa Port observed approximately 40 centimeters high tsunami at 5:04 p.m. local time. Also 20 centimeters at Tobishima Island in Yamagata Prefecture, and around 20 centimeters in Washizaki on Sado Island, Niigata Prefecture. And once again, at 4:21 p.m. local time, A tsunami of a meter, 1.2 meters was observed in Wajima City, Ishikawa Prefecture. 80 centimeters was observed along the coastline of Toyama City, and 40 centimeters in Kashiwazaki City, Niigata Prefecture. The Chugoku Electric Power Company says they have found no damages to the Shimane nuclear power plant so far. Once again, Chugoku Electric Power Company says they found no damages to the Shimane nuclear power plant so far. TEPCO says they're inspecting the impact of the earthquake at the Kashiwazaki Kariwa nuclear power plant, but they say they found no changes to the monitoring post.
Other news agencies are starting to begin to cover this. So if I can find a better link, I'll
at the Kashiwazaki Kariwa nuclear power plant, but they say they found no changes to the monitoring post that measures the radiation level around the nuclear plant. Also, the operator of a nuclear power plant in the town of Shika in Ishikawa Prefecture says it is checking whether the earthquake has impacted the plant. Hokuriku Electric Power Company says both of the two reactors at the Shika nuclear power plant have been offline. We now go back to our general service.
So regarding the information regarding the impact from the earthquake needs to be promptly sent out to communicate it to people, citizens. And we need to also grasp the information as quickly as possible regarding the impact from the
3:30.
earthquake, and we will communicate we will collaborate closely with the local communities to work on relief and rescue effort. So those are the 3 points that I instructed for the citizens. Please stay vigilant to
What is
further
this counter
shape
right here?
and the expect those of you in the areas where tsunami waves are expected, please evacuate it as quickly as possible.
I know they take this shit pretty seriously over there. This is no joking matter with these people here because it's happened
On
before.
the information currently gathered. That was Prime Minister Kishida. Apologies, we were not able to hear the first part of the press. Noto region, the Ishikawa Prefecture, powerful earthquake of intensity, maximum intensity 7 was observed.
And those were updates from our general service. Tsunami have been observed in the following areas. Kanazawa Port at around 5:04 p.m. local time, around 40 centimeters. Also, about 20 centimeters at Tobishima Island in Yamagata Prefecture. Also, 20 centimeters at Washizaki City in Niigata Prefecture on Sado Island. Also, tsunami have been observed at Wajima City in Ishikawa Prefecture along the coast of Toyama City. Also in Kashiwazaki City in Niigata Prefecture.
Oh, that's
and,
down here. Okay, hold
the
on.
port of Nanao in Ishikawa Prefecture. A major tsunami warning has been issued for the Noto area of Ishikawa Prefecture. All residents living near the coast evacuate immediately. A strong earthquake struck Japan's Hokuriku region at around 4:10 p.m. local time, a little over an hour ago. The Japan Meteorological Agency has updated the area covered by alerts. A major tsunami warning has been issued for the Noto area in Ishikawa Prefecture. And tsunami warning has been issued for
Right here.
Yamagata, Niigata, Toyama, Ishikawa
So
prefectures.
in this red here is where they're
Tsunami
really worried right
advisories,
here.
which are highlighted in yellow on the screen, have been issued for areas from Hokkaido all the way down to Kyushu. High waves of about 5 meters are expected for the Noto area in Ishikawa Prefecture. That's where the major tsunami warning has been issued. Waves up to 3 meters high are expected to reach the coastlines of Yamagata Prefecture,
16 feet.
Niigata, Sado Island in Niigata Prefecture, Toyama Prefecture, as well as Kaga City in Ishikawa Prefecture and Fukui Prefecture.
So about 16 feet of wave.
Major tsunami warning has been issued for the Noto region in Ishikawa Prefecture. All residents living near the coast evacuate immediately. That also goes for people living in areas highlighted in red. Waves from 1 meter to 3 meters high will be impacting areas seen on the map highlighted in red. All residents in those high-risk areas head to higher ground immediately. That includes people living near mouths of rivers and large waterways. Authorities are also ordering people not to go near the coastline and waterways to observe the situation. If our viewers have any relatives and or friends in the high-risk areas, tell them to evacuate immediately. If they are able to, they can follow the situation using the NHK World app. Also, by watching the general service, there will be subtitles in English provided.
Yeah, it's probably not a good idea to go down there and start taking pictures right now.
Our studios here in Tokyo, a huge earthquake struck off the coast of Ishikawa Prefecture, triggering tsunami. We advise people to be alert because more earthquakes are possible. Here we have a new tsunami observation from the town of Fukaura in Aomori Prefecture. Once again, tsunami has been observed in Aomori Prefecture in the town of Fukaura. Tsunami has also been observed in Wajima City, Ishikawa Prefecture, the coast of Toyama City.
Okay, so that's it right there.
Kashiwazaki City, Niigata Prefecture, Kanazawa Port, Ishikawa Prefecture, Washizaki City on the island of Sado in Niigata Prefecture, also Tobishima Island in Yamagata Prefecture, and as we just told you, Fukaura town in Aomori Prefecture. So the Akita Shinkansen bullet train has resumed operations, but Joetsu and Hokuriku bullet trains are still suspending operations for safety purposes. Once again, JR East says the Akita Shinkansen bullet train has resumed operation, but Joetsu and Hokuriku bullet trains are still suspending their operations due to safety inspection.
Yeah, I mean a 7.5 magnitude earthquake is that's nothing to stick at. Pardon the pun, but that's why they have all these evacuate immediate orders here, especially in the reds here. But I've been trying to find what he was saying, Ishikawa, right? But I thought he was saying Ishikawa, so I've been feverishly trying to find that. It's actually Ishikawa. So, and that's just below this Wajima province here. So I found it. Oops.
The Noto area in Ishikawa Prefecture, waves up to 5 meters high are expected. So we are asking all residents living near the coast to evacuate immediately and get to higher ground or move inland. All residents must evacuate immediately. If you have no means of escape, head to the highest floor possible of a sturdy structure near you. People living near large waterways are also at high risk. Do not underestimate the situation as conditions can turn catastrophic in an instant. Japan's Chief Cabinet Secretary Hayashi Yoshimasa has spoke to reporters and said they have not found abnormalities at the nuclear power plants in the affected areas. Once again, Japan's Chief Cabinet Secretary Hayashi Yoshimasa has spoke to reporters and said they found no abnormalities at the nuclear power plants in the affected areas. Over an hour ago, a strong earthquake hit off the coast of Japan Sea, off Ishikawa Prefecture, triggering tsunami. Tsunami have been observed in the following areas: Wajima City, Ishikawa Prefecture; Toyama City; Kashiwazaki City, Niigata Prefecture; Kanazawa Port in Ishikawa Prefecture; Niigata.
I mean, I'm just looking at some of the initial stuff coming in from Twitter. It's a pretty solid earthquake. I like covering this live stuff.
Else's channel.
Ishikawa Prefecture. Those are the areas which have already observed tsunami. Areas highlighted in yellow range from Hokkaido all the way to Kyushu. That is a tsunami advisory for those areas. Tsunami up to a meter high have already or will impact the coast. Authorities are urging people living near the coast and or waterways to be prepared to evacuate, as the situation could become life-threatening with the passing of time. Those are the areas highlighted in yellow, ranging from Hokkaido all the way to Kyushu. Our major concern right now is the major tsunami warning, which has been issued for the Noto region in Ishikawa Prefecture. That is highlighted in purple. Waves up to 5 meters high are imminent. All residents living near the coast evacuate immediately and get to higher ground or more inland. All residents must evacuate immediately. If you have no means of escape, head to the highest floor possible of a sturdy structure near you. Tsunami are obviously more powerful than regular waves. The first wave is not necessarily the largest. Tsunami can reach the coast at rapid speeds with little warning. So whatever you do, do not go to the coastline, to the beaches, to the waterways to assess the situation. Once again, tsunami have been observed in the following areas: Wajima City in Ishikawa Prefecture; Toyama City; Kashiwazaki City in Niigata Prefecture; Kanazawa Port; Niigata Port; Washizaki in Sado, on Sado Island, Niigata Prefecture; Tobishima Island in Yamagata Prefecture; and Fukaura Town in Aomori Prefecture, as well as Nanao Port in Ishikawa Prefecture.
No, there's nothing happening. Believe Paige and them. You can see the goddamn thing burning.
Tsunami warning has been issued.
Folks, when stupid people like that come into the chat, just fucking ban them immediately. If they say that they're there and there's nothing happening and you can see all this on the screen, that's a stupid motherfucker.
Hey, Miss Persevere, how are you? Where the fuck did that come from? All right, let me try another one here. That was weird.
Israeli warplanes have carried out.
All right, hold on a second. Trying to get another feed here. Oh, that's not good. Give me a second. Technical difficulties. Give me a second. Me too.
Tsunami warnings have been issued, waves up to a meter higher than usual. So that's relatively modest. And there are a few reports of any casualties or anything yet. We're still waiting for the police.
I have no idea what that was.
To start collating this information.
I have no idea.
I have to say, it's of course, as soon as you have an earthquake in Japan, you cannot but help think what happened in 2011 with the Fukushima tidal wave tsunami hitting the nuclear power station there. Remember, that was actually the worst earthquake in Japan's history. And the tsunamis were reckoned to be up to 40 meters higher than usual. So this is a relatively modest earthquake in a country that experiences between 4 and 7 serious earthquakes a year,
that I had going,
and about 1,500 earthquakes in general.
Right. Japan is still recovering from the Fukushima disaster, as you rightly pointed out, with treated radioactive water being released into the sea over the last couple of months. What's at stake this time around? How do you see the impact of this tsunami in Japan?
Well, the first thing, of course, as you're mentioning, there's always problems, or rather, there's always questions asked about nuclear power stations. Are they safe? Japan has improved, or says it's improved, its safety regulations and the requirements for nuclear power stations to be able to withstand tsunamis. In this case, if the waves are only a meter high, then that's probably not so bad. Remember, the problem in Fukushima was not that the nuclear reactor itself, in a way, was affected. It was because of the cooling pumps, or the pumps that pumped coolant around the reactor. They broke down. Their they lost their power supplies, and so they weren't able to cool the reactor, and that was at the center of the problem, and why the reactor basically, why things went wrong. In this case, I think things are an awful lot safer. And as I say, remember, the Japanese are used to earthquakes in a way that people in many other parts of the world are not. Japan is a place where a lot of tectonic plates meet and rub up against each other and ride over each other. And earthquakes in Japan are relatively frequent. The Japanese are particularly well prepared for earthquakes. And certainly the initial reports that we've got coming out is of relatively low damage, but of course that might change. At the moment, as I say, the emergency authorities are compiling information, and we might hear more in the future.
Having learned a lesson since 2011, how prepared is Japan right now to tackle this particular disaster that has struck the coastline?
Well, remember, Japan is a developed country. It is, the number. It was until China overtook. It was the number 2 economy in the world, and it's still a very rich place. It has, although it's called a self-defense force, it actually has one of the largest militaries in the world.
Hold on a second.
And so it has a lot of resources.
It looks like everybody's starting to come on now and cover this, but if you go to Twitter, it's more all over the place on Twitter than it is on YouTube right now. So I'm trying to find a good feed to cover this. But if you look at some of the images coming out, it's a 7.6 earthquake in Western Japan. So it's a pretty. Some of the pictures are eerie. Yes.
Well prepared for the worst.
Yes, as you rightly pointed out, the Japanese are very well prepared for the worst, but it has also raised fears among the local people out there of mass evacuations.
Yeah, I apologize. I have no idea what that was. I might have been on somebody else's feed. I don't know.
On ground right now, what are you picking up from your sources?
Well, mass evacuations. The great thing about this was that the mass evacuations were ordered before the tsunami actually came anywhere near to hitting the coast. Again, large areas, lower areas being evacuated. Obviously, in this case, I think if you're the governor of the local region, or if you're the person in charge of coordinating the response to an earthquake and a tsunami, you're probably going to err, or hopefully err, on the side of caution, and that more people may well, or more areas may well be evacuated than turns out to be necessary. And certainly that's the hope here.
Andrew, stay with us on the broadcast. Sonia Blaski, a journalist, is joining us live from Tokyo to give us the latest inputs on ground on the situation unfolding there. Sonia, do tell us what's happening right now. The tsunami has just struck the coastline of Japan. Starting this bulletin with a news alert coming in from Japan, where a 7.4 magnitude earthquake hit north central part of the country. A tsunami warning was issued earlier, and it has hit the Japanese coast shortly thereafter. Now, the Japan's meteorological agency had issued a tsunami warning along the coastal regions of Ishikawa, Niigata, and Toyama prefectures. Tsunami hit the sea.
So they got at Wajama 1 meter 20 centimeters over 80 centimeters. So these are lower, obviously, here. But I heard him say earlier, almost 16 feet of a wave.
Joined by our correspondent, Andrew Woods. He joins us live from Hong Kong. Andrew, what is the
Okay, so I've
information
seen this
that
one
you are picking?
already. Let's get out of this one here. And I'll try to go to this one. Hey, Miranda, how are you? Yeah, it sucks. What are you going to do? I've been coughing so much the last couple of days. I think my it's just been a painful week for sure. Let's try to do this one here.
Alert. That was a report from Kanazawa. Now this is the Toyama office. This is located in Shin Sakuramachi, and this building can withstand the strong earthquakes. Right after the earthquake occurred, the lights were swinging on the ceiling. The staff
Oops. Hold on a second.
Roadway between Maruoka, Toyama, Uozu interchange, and Namekawa interchange. The road is off the traffic. Shirakawa interchange to Oyabe Nami interchange. The road is also off the traffic as well. The information on the cracks on the road. Toyama western part, Hime, according to Hime police station as of 4:30, in several places in city, there are cracks in the road. If you're running on the road with car in the night time, please stay tuned on the information from TV or radio. And there is also some damage on the water pipes. At 4:35 p.m., water pipe has been damaged in several locations, according in Toyama. As reported, Toyama Prefecture.
It's so terrible because some of these sites, like I'm on this one here, NHK World Japan News, I've never heard of it. They got 2.65 million subscribers. So, it's, I'm assuming that that's a legit site, but you never freaking know. So that's why I'm sitting close to the volume button here.
Line to see what's going on. Please stay tuned to the latest information from the JMA and from the TV. To repeat, in Toyama Prefecture, the earthquake of intensity upper 5 is registered. Toyama City, Takaoka City, Hime City, Oya City, intensity upper 5 is registered. And lower 5, Namekawa City, Kurobe City, Kamichi-machi, Tateyama-machi, Asahi-machi town registered. Now in Toyama Prefecture, so intensity of lower 5 and upper 5 are observed. Please do not let your guard down. Please stay calm. Now it's getting darker. Please stay calm and be vigilant. Now, this is the latest information on the waves arrived at the coastline. Okushiri Port, 5:28. Okushiri Port, 10 centimeter tsunami is observed. And tsunami advisory all the way from Hokkaido to Kyushu along the Sea of Japan. And tsunami, those of you in the area under tsunami advisory, please stay away from the coastline and river mouth. Now, in the areas under major tsunami warning and tsunami warning, it's getting colder, but please do not go back to where you were. Now, this is the updated information of the tsunami along the coastline. Sado, Washizaki, Niigata Prefecture, higher tsunami is observed. 5:39, Sado, Washizaki, waves of 30 centimeters is observed. In a wider area, tsunami waves observed. Please stay at higher ground. Now, we're reached.
Did you have a good night, though, Miranda? Did you enjoy the New Year's? This is the first time I think we all stayed up. I know I stay up all the time because I'm up anyways, but this is the first time in a long time all of us were up. But I feel a lot better now than I did Friday, that's for sure. I don't know what I had. I'm pretty sure it was my bronchitis, but
in the time of going up and down tsunami, that's the cycle was around 10 minutes. So the cycle is shorter compared to the big earthquake in 2011. And already the third waves and the fourth waves are observed. And these waves are likely to continue.
As we've been reporting, tsunami waves have been observed in wide areas facing Sea of Japan. Tsunami waves of 1.2 meter or over have been recorded in Ishikawa Prefecture's Wajima City. Tsunami waves have also been observed in Toyama City, Niigata Prefecture's Kashiwazaki City, Kanazawa Port, Niigata Prefecture's Sado City, Yamagata Prefecture's
that's
Asuka,
awesome.
or Yamagata Prefecture's Tobishima, rather. And also,
I mean, that's the good news about these holidays is it, brings family over and together and stuff like that, right? Like I said, I don't I don't drink anymore, so if you're looking forward to that, I don't know. I probably won't be picking Michigan, but you know, it'll be a good game, that's for sure.
Kyushu region, southwestern Japan. Major tsunami warning had been issued for Ishikawa Prefecture's Noto region. The estimated height of the tsunami is 5 meters. Now, in Ishikawa Prefecture, tsunami waves have already been observed, but don't let your guard down. The estimate
5 meters is 16 feet. Am I right about that? Is that real? You won the pot tonight. That's awesome. That's good. That's good. Yeah, usually the less alcohol, the better, especially if you're having people over.
northern Hyogo Prefecture and also in Fukui Prefecture. The estimated height of the waves are 3 meters. Now, this is very dangerous information. So, if you are in any of the areas under tsunami advisory, tsunami warning, or major tsunami warning, please keep evacuating to higher ground. And also,
does anybody else but Necessary Evil know anybody over in Japan? I know I don't. I might. Probably did at one point. I know a couple of people on other that I frequent other channels are from Japan, but I don't think I know anybody over there. But I cover a lot of the typhoons that happen over there too. So
Ishikawa Prefecture Noto region, an earthquake with intensity of 7 and other major earthquakes occurred, and other areas are also hit by tsunami. Well, the government has launched the disaster response office immediately after the quake, and I gave 3 instructions. First, communicate the accurate information on tsunami and evacuation to the public as accurately as possible.
you guys have been so awesome. I appreciate all of the all of the shout outs. You guys have been great. I appreciate it. Thank you very much.
Is to put the first priority to saving lives. So these are 3 objectives that we intend to achieve. I urge the local residents to take precautions against the earthquakes going forward. And in the regions where the tsunami is expected, please evacuate to safer places. For further details, I would like to get a report on the current information.
once again, tsunami waves are approaching land. Tsunami waves have been observed in wide areas. Tsunami waves of 1.2 meter or over have been observed in Wajima City in Ishikawa Prefecture. Tsunami waves have also been observed in Toyama City, Niigata Prefecture's Kashiwazaki City, Kanazawa Port in Ishikawa Prefecture, Niigata Port, Sado City's Washizaki.
All right, so I'm going to do this here again so I can give people a little bit of, let's see here, an idea of where we are. So this is the Japan Sea here, what they call the Japan Sea. He's Sado Island. But it seems like they're more concerned with right in here. Especially this Ojima province here. I mean, these places are just absolutely beautiful anyways. And then the Toyama here and Toyama here. So this is even all the way down to Ishikawa. This is what I was trying to figure out before, because they keep saying Ishika or Ishikawa, but it's probably right in here. And I'm trying to move this over a little bit. Yep. So right in this general area here, and I can back this out to give people more of a context to where we are. So here's mainland China here, and here's Japan, Osaka. So it's basically on the western part in here, the Sea of Japan. But the area of interest here is going to be right in this general area here. But that's the thing with these things, you just don't know exactly where the waves are going to hit. So let me go back to the live here.
And also hit by another earthquake. Those major earthquakes occurred on the Japan seaside in the past, and the several lives were lost because of tsunami, and the tsunami reached the coastal lines in this region in a relatively short time. So, like the past earthquakes, this earthquake is also big, so the people need to stay safe.
I do a lot of history, so I do know that this is where, especially in this area right here, this is where Kublai Khan, who was the Mongol who tried to invade Japan 2 or 3 different times, this is where he went, right in here, and that's the reason why I know what this part, the Wajima part here. Apparently, he went here twice, and they got destroyed by hurricanes and typhoons, so they pretty much stopped their invasion of Japan.
Regions the tsunami waves have been observed, but according to Professor Imamura of Tohoku University, the tsunami waves could reach the coastal regions repeatedly, and higher tsunami waves could hit the region later, and tsunami waves could be repeated. In Toyama Prefecture, we have some the figures of the height of tsunami, but tsunami waves are hitting this region repeatedly in a short cycle. And even now, the tsunami waves are still hitting the Toyama Prefecture. In Takaoka City is also hit by the high tides. So in wide region of Hokuriku region, the tsunamis or the waves are hitting the region. In Kanazawa port at 445, 45, 50 centimeters of tsunami was observed. The higher tsunami was observed in Yamagata, Tobishima, 547, 30 centimeters of tsunami was observed, and tsunami advisory was issued, and 30 centimeters of tsunami. And Akita port, Tottori, Iwami port, 10 centimeters of tsunami was observed. So tsunami waves are hitting the various towns and cities along the Japan Sea coast. When the higher tsunami waves hit the region, the data is updated. So the same level of tsunami waves are hitting the region repeatedly. And the tsunami waves are observed the farther region away from the epicenter. So not only the major tsunami warnings, but tsunami advisories are also issued. So the people in this region, in these regions, need to stay on alert. Tsunami waves are completely different from other waves. Even the several centimeters or tens of centimeters of tsunami needs to be you need to be careful about that. So 5 meters.
So this one here seems to be the more pressing, the 5 meter, even 3 meters, but this one here.
To your home. 40 years ago, when the earthquake hit the Japan Sea side, the people lost lives, and that was a magnitude 7 earthquake, and the earthquake was like several tens of kilometers deep. So please do not forget that experience.
So please remember this earthquake that occurred in Sea of Japan Central 40 years ago. So the earthquakes occurring in the Sea of Japan, you need to be very vigilant on tsunami because tsunami may occur in a very short time. So please stay vigilant. And tremors continues repeatedly. According to JMA has not grasped all the latest information, only reporting the major tremors. But in the affected areas, the tremors seem to be repeating constantly. So I'm sure the people there are feeling very, very anxious. But please continue to evacuate to higher ground. And please, if you're already in higher ground, do not go back to where you were. The temperature is dropping, but please stay with other people in the shelter where you can avoid wind. And tremors are continuing. So after evacuating, please be careful if there's anything that may fall down around you. Please be vigilant to look around you if there's any falling objects. The tsunami arrived in the coastline. We have the latest information.
I mean, that looks pretty bad. I know it's a camera that's shaking like that, but that looks pretty. I mean, I know I'd be freaked out.
Tsunami higher than before. Aomori Prefecture, Fukaura, 30 centimeter tsunami is observed, and now the advisory is also issued. Maezuru Port, 449, 10 centimeter tsunami is Maizuru Port, 10 centimeter tsunami is observed. Hokuriku region, due to the earthquake, sea level is different from ordinary. The JMA information is updated when new information comes, but the tsunami may be colliding to each other and get even higher. So even if you're observing tsunami of several dozens of centimeters, it may get higher. So please do not let your guard down. Please continue to evacuate. Now, the information regarding damage due to the earthquake, Ishikawa Prefecture, due to the fire brigade, there are half collapsed house, people trapped inside in one house, and the report was made from the resident. The rescue effort is currently being carried out, and fire brigade is currently collecting information. And water pipe is collapsed in Tsubata Machi town. Currently, there is no information on injury. Kanazawa, next to Kanazawa City, Uchinadamachi Fire Brigade, there's a liquidation of road and also, but there's no injury related information so far. Toyama Prefecture, after the earthquake to the city hall, there are several reports on the collapsed buildings. Up to this, there's no report on injuries, but information is being still collected. Hime police station, as of 4:30 p.m. in several places inside the town, there are some cracks found in the road. And intensity upper 6 is registered in Wajima City, Ishikawa Prefecture. According to Wajima Hospital,
so I'm going to share this. This is coming out of, hold on a second. This is from one of the pictures anyways that I was able to find. Right here. This is, I mean, people have just stopped celebrating New Year's Eve, especially the national news. So they're probably too shit-faced to cover anything right this very second. But here's an image here from. So let's see, a 7.5 magnitude earthquake struck Western Japan on Monday afternoon, triggering a tsunami alert and prompting an official warning to residents to evacuate affected coastline areas as soon as possible. 4:10 p.m. So that was, when did I start this stream? An hour ago. So, and an hour ago that was 5 p.m. over there. So 4:10 would have been an hour before that. So probably 11 o'clock Eastern Standard Time here. If I did that right, probably not. So northeast of Anamizu and Ishikawa Prefecture, according to the United States Geological Survey. So that's all they have on CNN. I have no idea. All right, so let's go back to this here. Behind the scenes, I'm trying to find a better feed, but this is it for now. Nobody else is really covering this.
It is checking whether the quake has impacted the plant. Hokuriku Electric Power Company says both of the two reactors at the Shika nuclear power plant have been offline. Japan's Prime Minister Kishida Fumio has called on the public to be on the alert for more powerful earthquakes.
At 4:40 p.m. today, the earthquake with the maximum intensity of 7 and major earthquakes hit the Noto region of Ishikawa Prefecture, and major tsunami warning has been issued to several regions. The government has set up a disaster response office immediately after the earthquake, and I gave 3 instructions. First, to communicate the information about tsunami and evacuations to the general public as quickly as possible and as accurately as possible. And secondly, to grasp and assess the situation of damage as early as possible. And third, to coordinate with the local municipalities, putting the first priority to saving lives. So these are 3 objectives that we would like to achieve. I would like to call on the people in the disaster hit areas to be vigilant and in the regions where the tsunami waves are expected, I urge people to evacuate as quickly as possible. For further details, I will get a report.
As we've been reporting, tsunami waves have already been observed in wide areas facing the Sea of Japan. Tsunami waves of 1.2 meter or over have been observed in Ishikawa Prefecture's Wajima City. Tsunami waves have also been observed in Toyama City, Kanazawa Port in Ishikawa Prefecture, Kashiwazaki City in Niigata Prefecture, Tobishima Island in Yamagata Prefecture, Niigata Port, Yamagata Prefecture's Sakata Port, Niigata Prefecture's Sado City, Shimane Prefecture's Oki Island, Toyoka City in Hyogo Prefecture, Fukaura Town in Aomori Prefecture, Okushiri Island's Okushiri Port in Hokkaido Prefecture, Akita Port, Iwami Town in Tottori Prefecture, Kyoto Prefecture's Maizuru Port, Ishikawa Prefecture's Nanao Port, and Fukui Prefecture's Tsuruga Port. Tsunami waves have been observed in wide areas, but the waves can hit repeatedly and get stronger and higher. So please keep evacuating to higher ground and keep going as far as possible. If there are no raised locations around you, escape as far away from the coast or riverside and go up tall buildings. Please keep evacuating until all the warning and major tsunami warning have been lifted. Major tsunami warning have been issued for Ishikawa Prefecture's Noto region. The estimated height of the wave is 5 meters. Tsunami warning has been issued for Yamagata Prefecture, Niigata Prefecture's Jochu Kaetsu, Sado Island, Toyama Prefecture, Ishikawa Prefecture's Kaga region, Fukui Prefecture, and northern Hyogo Prefecture. In those areas, tsunami waves of up to 3 meters are expected to hit the areas. Now, tsunami waves have already been observed in these areas, in some of these areas, but
All right, I got another feed here. This is coming from an Australian news. Let's go here.
And we are still here covering that major breaking news out of Japan. If you are just joining us, a magnitude 6.3 earthquake hit Japan, Western Japan, about 2 hours ago. And since then, there have been 21 earthquakes with a magnitude above 4.0. There is also a major tsunami warning issued for parts of Japan. You can see there on screen now, tsunami warning in the red area, yellow areas, and advised.
That's what I was going to say. If there's been one, there's probably been others since then.
Affairs editor Austin Pollock, who's been covering all this. Austin, good evening to you again. What exactly do we know? Because we do know that we are going to get an update on this from Japanese authorities shortly as well.
Yeah, Leo, good evening to you. We should get an update from Japanese authorities within the next 5-10 minutes or so. We'll bring you the highlights from that, of course, and possibly a live feed, but of course, depending on translation. We do know that South Korea at the moment is also watching East Coast sea levels following the quake, following that 7.5 magnitude earthquake. The area is currently under intense monitoring by South Korean authorities as well. We also know that Russia, they have began evacuation efforts, I believe, and also monitoring the situation very closely with warnings put out.
Holy cow.
And the Japanese Prime Minister a few moments ago also called for an evacuation of the affected areas that we saw on that map just before. We will continue, of course, to keep this going, but there are currently 32,500 homes without power following the quake, and we know that there are plenty of people visiting Japan at the moment, a tourist hotspot that for a lot of Australians as well. So a lot of people might be staying there, trying to keep up to date with latest information. They won't have power and can't get that while that 5-meter wave is set to be imminent. That is happening right now. That vision playing on your screen at the moment, or now we're on the map, but that vision just a minute ago playing on your screen. With those waves coming through there on that map, you can see the affected areas that is going to be hit by those tsunamis. You can see along the west coast, the yellow being advisory, red being warning, and purple the major warning that will be hardest hit. So Leo, certainly a long day ahead for people in Japan.
Now I'm just watching NHK World News in the background. The meteorology agency there is providing an update on the quake. We don't have a live translation of that. We'll bring you all the details in literally just a couple minutes when we get them. But again, what we've been hearing and what really should be emphasized here, especially given, by the way, I've seen comments on social media from people who are saying, oh, my family member.
A little bit of water is not a problem. But if anybody's ever spilt a glass of water anywhere around them, they'll know that it's surprising how much water can actually come out of a glass. So when you add a lot of water, it's a problem.
Version of it as well from the Japanese Meteorology Agency. We can really see what is going on in terms of warnings and such. And we'll endeavor to bring you some more vision of what's going on here as well.
Just looking at photos as well, Leo, you can see people have been evacuated from buildings, houses have fallen down, footpaths have got cracks in them, they've all come up. It's really quite a lot of devastation and damage from this 7.5 magnitude earthquake. And just quickly, also, Russia, a tsunami warning has just been issued for Russian cities as well. So not just the earthquake, they've also now got a tsunami warning.
Yeah, and we had there some alerts for even North Korea as well, mind you. You forget how close some of these nations are, and obviously it's the western coast of Japan, and that is where all these warnings are in effect that you can see on screen right now. We also just want to bring up some other vision, if we can. This shows the inside. I think it's inside, yeah, a subway train or a bullet train, and you can clearly see the shaking. And this was about 2 hours ago.
Yeah, this
Some
station's in Ishikawa.
pretty significant there, and that was, we believe, the largest one, the 7 point.
I'm telling you, man, like there's a lot of things that I could probably deal with. When the ground starts moving, that's when I'm gonna get out of Dodge. I don't know if I can deal with that.
Sorry
Okay.
to cut out for a second. Yep. Sorry. Yeah,
yeah, go
that
ahead.
footage though, that is in Ishikawa at the moment. And we'll get some more footage for you as well. But that's just in, yes, as you say, a train station. There, a lot of, as you know, but all the buildings in Japan, they are built to earth to withstand these earthquakes. So nothing that they haven't seen before. But obviously,
Especially
7.5
after, of course, that
magnitude is very strong.
2011 one, the infamous
Yep.
2011 earthquake and tsunami, and that's obviously where people's minds go back to. But still, I mean, just looking at that is pretty extraordinary vision. And 7.6 is
Problem usually is you got the big one, right? You get the big main earthquake, and then you're gonna have like seismic shifts after that, like 3 or 4. Sometimes if you have 14 of them, so the one just kind of loosens everything up, and then the others will pretty much do the rest of the damage.
go
I
back
guess.
to 2011 Japan, but no issues there.
I know very little about earthquakes.
For again, if you're just joining us, which struck Ishikawa Prefecture in central Japan on the western coast. A major tsunami warning issued for that area, and this is a live look at the Japanese Meteorology Agency's website, and you can just see exactly there where the hardest hit areas are or expect to be. And
Hey, Charlotte, how are you? Good to see you. Happy New Year. Just covering this breaking news coming out of the Sea of Japan here, the tsunami warnings they got from the earthquake here. And I finally got a good feed coming out of Australia, which is
highest part in a stable building. And that is really the advice right now. Again, for those just joining us, the meteorology agency in Japan there is speaking and putting a brief on that quake. We will give you the latest updates on that when we can. We do not have a live translation feed of that.
Some injury reports are just coming out of Japan. The first injury reports coming out from local hospitals. No fatalities have been confirmed so far, but there are people with minor injuries, including broken bones, and fires have broken out in homes.
It's always good to see you in here, Charlotte.
We had seen on NHK as well some of that fire vision, and that's already happening. What do we know, again, just on that topic there about any building?
I'll be right back.
We've seen a lot of footage. There's not a lot of, I'm sure we'll be hearing about that in that press conference that's taking place, but not too much in the way of actual statistics, but looking at some of the photos that are coming out and the footage that is coming out. Sky News showing some pictures just in the aftermath of the earthquake. This, of course, isn't due to the tsunami. This is due to the actual earthquake. The tsunami is going to be a whole lot of more devastation possibly. But buildings have collapsed along streets by the looks. Pavements, footpaths, roads, they've all been crumbled. People have been evacuated. And of course, that footage we were showing before of the railway station, that, of course, not something you want to see. Obviously, would cause a lot of damage to the buildings. But as we've been repeating, those buildings, they are structurally designed to deal with earthquakes. But 7.6, that is quite high on the Richter scale. So that is certainly not something that they would not be used to, but it is more than typically with, put in.
And also 21 with a magnitude above 4.0 in what a 2 hour period, just under that,
Correct. Yeah.
is quite extraordinary. I think there was one that was immediately after the 7.6, which is 6.3, and they were the two largest ones we know of at this point. But at this point, they could still be occurring. Again, you just look at that. It's extraordinary vision there, and definitely, yeah. Terrifying vision. Right now, obviously, I've been speaking with someone who is in Japan, not in the affected area, mind you, but saying this has now been wall-to-wall coverage. Other reports are giving us numbers of possibly 30 earthquakes total. I think that's including that 21, which happened to be above 4.0. We've seen 1.2 meter waves, others 30 centimeter. I'm just going off NHK. 1.2 at the top, 10 centimeters lowest. But again, major tsunami with 5 meters being warned of in that the purple warning area, I guess you could say. Look, stay with us. We're going to continue our coverage right throughout the rest of the hour, and we'll bring the latest headlines on the hour every hour, as we always do now. So we'll cut in for the latest breaking news. In the meantime, stay with us. We're going to go to some New Year's Eve highlights. You're watching 6 News with the latest breaking news on the earthquake and tsunami situation in Japan. Do stay with us.
Okay, so let's go back to the map since they're in that. Hope you had a good New Year's, Charlotte. Let's see here. They got some really good fireworks over there. So let's. So here we are again at the map. So this is the area really they're interested in, right in here. I mean, this whole kind of coastline here, all the way down to, I don't know how to pronounce that, but right in here. Right in this area here. All right, so let's go back to the live feed. We'll watch some fireworks. Whoops. All right, let me find another feed. The good news is there's more people covering this right now. So I mean, this is doing me no good because it's not. Um,
大津波警報など日本海側広く出ております。こういった警報、注意報出ている間は やはり、海辺の方には絶対に近寄らないでほしいなど、そのあたり防災上の警戒呼びかけありましたら、
はい、
再度お願いします。
津波警報や警報が出ている、地域の方は自治体から避難指示など出ていると思います。そういったものもや、あと自分が安全な場所にいるのか、とにかく安全な場所に逃げる、津波の恐れのない地域に逃げるということに努めてもらいたいと思います。
ありがとうございます。
テレビ朝日の島田と申します。富山湾ではですね、何度も津波のような波形が見られていますけれども、湾の形状などで今震源から近い湾以外で、大きな増幅するような地域というのはあるのか、またそういった遠いところの湾にお住まいの方に注意があればお聞かせください。
観測自体は注意深く観測を続けているところです。ちょっと一番最新のデータまではちょっと見れていないんですが、こちらにあるように継続して変化が出ているところがあります。一方今まで出ていなくても、後の方で津波高くなるということもありえますし、また遠くの地域の方も、最初は高くなかったものが、何らかの影響で。
All right, I gotta get back to this other one here. Hold on. Right.
そういったところがあると思いますので、まずはそういったところに逃げていただきたいと思います。で、地震についても強い揺れが来ていますので、頑丈な、そういった強い揺れでも大丈夫な建物、そういったところに避難するようにしていただきたいと思います。
日本テレビ内藤です。ちょっと確認させてください。これ今回震源は海域と陸域にちょうどかかってるという感じなんでしょうか。
そう。
All right, we'll just watch the fireworks and then wait for them to cut in for the tsunami coverage, I guess.
You are watching 6 News, and we are continuing our coverage of that major breaking news out of Japan. That 7.6 magnitude earthquake. Excuse me. The 7.6 magnitude earthquake, which has subsequently triggered tsunami warnings right across Japan. And
I think what they're trying to do is the press conference is going on right now in Japan, but they're trying to break it down into English so other people can listen to it because it's going on live. So that's why they're breaking in and out of this to go to fireworks to get that translated.
poor condition of the roads, hospitals are operating on backup power, and all in all, a very serious developing situation that we are seeing at this point. Want to bring in, who's there, Austin Pollock, our National Affairs editor. Austin, just take us through what we already know.
Thank you, Charlotte. I really appreciate that. I will.
Sorry, have you got me now? Hopefully.
Yep. Go ahead.
So this 7.6 magnitude earthquake did hit earlier on this morning in Japan local time, and that has hit. And we've just heard from Japanese weather authorities. They have been holding that press conference, and they've warned of, quote, massive earthquakes could hit the country over the coming days, and people need to be vigilant for the next 2 to 3 days. And there's also a risk of fire and landslides in the areas hit by the multiple earthquakes, up to 40 earthquakes that we have seen. Some reporting 30, some reporting 40, but all very high, 4 and above for a lot of them. And so far, a tsunami higher than 1.2 meters has been observed in Noto. In that Noto region where the earthquake hit. We had a map there just a minute ago showing you where those regions are that are most affected. And as Leo was saying, we are hearing from authorities at the moment. There have been good news in terms of nuclear power plants. No irregularities have been picked up from that, as we all remember 2011 with those issues. But thankfully, the authorities have confirmed that the nuclear reactors in the affected areas have not been affected by the strong earthquake. So that is good news. We also know that Russian.
I love covering this stuff live, but there's so many things that need, especially at late at night like this, early in the morning, where you're going to run into technical difficulties sometimes, and I apologize for that shit, but it's what happens when you cover shit live.
And we've seen photos of houses that have just completely been flattened by this earthquake. You can see that footage with the tsunami coming over the houses at the moment. So not just the earthquake that's affected, but it's also the tsunami. There's that map that I was talking about. You can see the red X a bit small there, but that is where the earthquake hit and the tsunami is set to hit. And then that purple zone is the worst affected region. So
those 5 meter waves are expected to hit.
Correct.
I think it's 3 meters in the red area, and then it could be anything up to 1 meter. We've seen 1.2 meters already reported in that yellow area.
Yeah, and we've seen so much devastation probably in that purple and red areas. Houses completely destroyed, people evacuated from buildings. Some of that footage we were showing you, those underground railways.
I truly appreciate that, Charlotte. You're always welcome in here for sure. You're a great person. Thank you. Oops.
And obviously is going to cause a lot of devastation. Residents in the coastal Noto area were asked to evacuate immediately to higher ground, the national broadcaster NHK says. But just repeating that good news, there are no irregularities at the nuclear power plants, which of course, if there was, would have a big problem.
Yeah, that goes without saying. But look, it's...
Yeah, I'd go to Japan too. 2 countries I'd love to go to. One is Russia. I don't know why I would go to Russia, but any country that has a lot of history, I'd love to go to.
Who is in Japan, who's been watching some of the news. They're not in one of the affected areas, mind you. There's been reports of 7 injuries, quakes every 1 to 5 minutes for the last 2.5 hours. At least 30 quakes. 21 of those have a magnitude above 4.0. That is since 6 p.m. Australian Eastern Daylight Time. Japan's 2 hours back from that. So that is 4
No
p.m.
fatalities
their time.
have been recorded, though.
Yes, no fatalities recorded as it stands, which is obviously very good news here. But we're still waiting because of those other quakes. The strongest jolt again, 7.6. Several major highways have also been closed. Unsurprisingly, a number of bullet train services have been suspended, partially suspended, and tsunami warnings again continuing to be in place. Russia has declared a tsunami warning in the far east areas, with some evacuations beginning. Fishermen have been ordered to get back to shore, while again in Japan, people have been told to evacuate coastal areas. It's right throughout that western coastline there that has been affected and has been hit. Torrents could reach as high as 5 meters. And again, people are being urged to get to as high ground as possible. Not that in Australian authorities, not that we believe there is a risk here, but in terms of any advice and the such. But certainly developing, and again, it's just that vision that I'll bring back up, which is when they just got in, but you can see the waves crashing over the seawall there in the Noto region of Japan, in the western coast area, and some pretty worrying vision. But again, it could reach as high as 5 meters, is what was reported by NHK Newsline, and so that's what we know in terms of there. Look, significant updates, Austin. I think. Look, we'll take a break. We'll let you keep watching some of this vision unfold. But a major situation continuing to unfold. 21 earthquakes with magnitude above 4.0 in Japan since 6 p.m. Australian Eastern Daylight Time. Look, we'll keep following this story. We'll come back. Headlines on the air as well. Stay with us. You're watching 6 News.
すごい。やばいやばいやばい。駅ぶっ壊れるじゃん。駅落ちるって。ただいま強い地震が発生したためでおります。ただいま強い地震が発生しております。落ち着いて行動してください。放送にてお知らせいたします。強い地震が発生しております。情報が入り
You went to Russia? Yeah, I bet. I bet the poverty there is really bad. Look at this. Look at these waves. I think they're in some sort of a break here. Sorry. They're back to fireworks pictures. So we don't need to hear that anymore. Let me I'll get a couple more tries and then I think I'll get out of here. Okay, so I'll go to this here until they come back with something. Let me go to this here. So this was done a few minutes ago, I think, from France 24 English.
Japanese Prime Minister Kishida had a press conference to talk about basically heed the warnings that have been announced by the Japan Meteorological Agency. One thing to remember is that in the 2011 earthquake and tsunami in Japan, about 20,000 people died or ended up missing, and most of those people were killed by the tsunami. that washed in and took out houses and also went further inland up through rivers.
And of course, Japan is well used, as you mentioned, that tsunami of 2021, dealing with earthquakes and tsunamis. What kind of precautions and procedures are in place there?
Okay, so one of the lessons that they learned after 2011 was that people had become kind of used to these sort of tsunami warnings and tsunami alerts, and so people did not heed the warnings, and so they've actually raised the level of warnings that they give, and they've given more detailed warnings, and they've also have like things. They've had this before, but sirens as well as
That's crazy.
other announcements to announce them, and also all the Japanese radio and also television stations, including the national broadcaster NHK, they broadcast live all the warnings and also where the areas that are going to be affected. And so that's been going on for the last over an hour. So all the stations, that's all they're talking about is the tsunami warnings and telling people to take heed of if there are warnings that the tsunamis are coming, that they must evacuate. Otherwise, their lives could be in danger.
Finally, James, I mean, it must be very difficult for the authorities there. As you say, they have this previous experience. They're already putting in those procedures in place to warn people. It's difficult to see, isn't it, where the balance comes and how bad things could be this time around.
Right. But from what I've seen, I've been here in Japan for about 30 years. A 5-meter warning, that's actually quite large. Usually when you hear the tsunami warnings, they're talking about tsunamis that may be coming in, at 30 centimeters or a meter. But 5 meters, I mean, I haven't heard anything like that probably since 2011. So that's actually a very, very grave sign that you should heed the warning that if they're talking about something that's coming in at 5 meters, because when that starts running inland, it's going to get higher and higher, as it follows rivers or streams or other sort of waterways.
Yeah, that's a lot, right?
Japan has issued
5 meters is
warning
16
and further
feet,
earthquake warnings after a series of strong earthquakes hit its north central region. Well, just to recap for you, the Japanese.
See, so this is where we just were on our map. We were here. Ishikawa is down here. Toyama is down in here somewhere. So this is the area of interest. I think this is where it actually happened. The earthquake actually happened is right in here somewhere. So
Japanese Meteorological Agency reported a quake, one of them with a magnitude of 7.4, hitting Ishikawa and nearby prefectures. 5-meter high waves are believed to have reached the city of Noto, while 1-meter high waves are also reported near Wajima City on Japan's western coast. Japanese public broadcaster NHK TV has warned torrents of water could reach as high as 16.5 feet and has urged people to flee to high land or to the top of a nearby building as quickly as possible. Well, in the last few minutes, Japan's Prime Minister has urged local residents to evacuate immediately. This graphic is from the Japanese Meteorological Agency, and the cross, which is quite hard to see in there, but represents the epicenter. The red line represents.
you aren't kidding, and that water isn't just like a sprinkler. It's engulfing you at the same time, right? It's like taking the ocean and basically pushing it inland.
May be higher than estimated and are expected to hit repeatedly. Keep evacuating to even higher ground wherever possible and do not leave the safe area until the warning is lifted. Well, Ashna is here on set with me to bring us more. We also have a few live pictures which will also bring you. And Ashna, what more do we know at this point?
Well, we know that in the last few moments, there have been a series of multiple earthquake alerts issued for that particular region. One has already been felt.
Yeah, 7.4 is actually pretty big.
By residents across Tokyo and in the Kanto area. The Meteorological Agency, which have issued this map to the wider public and residents there, reported that a quake hit that area, the Ishikawa area, and nearby areas, one of them, as you say, measuring 7.4 on the Richter scale. There are warnings, major warnings in place for the entire, as you can see, of that northwestern coast. And
It'll be a miracle if there's no casualties in this, literally.
The island of Honshu. The water you know, we're talking about waves here that could hit repeatedly, say, the Japanese Cabinet Office. The Japanese public broadcaster NHK TV warning that some of those waves could reach as high as 5 meters. The broadcaster is also reporting that smaller tsunami waves have already started reaching the coastline, and they are informing the public to flee to high land, to nearby buildings, to try and reach some sort of height to get away from the coastline, most importantly. And Reuters also are reporting that the chief cabinet secretary of the Japanese government, Yoshimasa Hayashi, has done an emergency press conference and has warned residents to prepare for further quakes that may lead in turn to further tsunami warnings. And the Prime Minister, PM Kishida, also addressing the press and the public today, calling on people to evacuate and saying that he is instructing his government to use all the resources that they have to try and help people.
Okay, so that's the end of that one, and then I'll go back here for a little while, then I'll get out of here.
Wait for updates, and then on top of that, we are also saying that we have that warning continuing to be in effect, that a 5-meter earthquake could hit the Noto region, which is where that is the one place where you've got
I agree,
major
Charlotte.
tsunami warning.
It's not good.
Again, though, on a positive.
Plus, it's not just water; you got cars and everything else floating in there.
More
So
important note:
yeah,
the
if
nuclear
if the
plants
water's
in the
that
area
high to take
have
houses down,
not reported any
16 feet is a lot,
irregularities.
but,
So that's an important development there, and that is obviously good news as it stands right now. We're continuing to follow this right throughout the hour. We'll have the latest headlines at the top of the hour. Stay with us. We've got more coverage on this, but in the meantime, just keep taking a look at some of this vision now. It's quite extraordinary, and we're working to bring you more details on this. Stay with us. You're watching 6 News.
okay. So while they do more, I don't understand why the volume goes out like that. So let's stop sharing that screen for a second because there's no volume out of that one anyways. And then we'll go here to this. This is coming from GB News.
Early this morning with a preliminary magnitude of 7.6.
Residents in the coastal area of Noto were asked to evacuate immediately to higher ground.
Joining us is environment journalist Nathan Rao. Good morning to you, Nathan. Now, obviously, this is a breaking news story. We're getting more information all the time, but just tell us what exactly you know at the moment.
Right, as you said, this is breaking pretty much within the last hour. This is a 7.6 magnitude earthquake on the west coast of Japan in the Ishikawa prefecture of Japan. That's about 180 miles from Tokyo. This was recorded pretty much within the last couple of hours, and the authorities have instructed people to evacuate the area and the surrounding areas of Niigata and Toyama, which is also on the west.
It's what's strange about this here is usually, you see pictures of these places and the houses are not all that great. These homes right here actually look like they're pretty solidly built here. So, I mean, these aren't just, 2x4 houses here. These are pretty solidly, they got pretty solid footings here. So, it's going to take a lot to destroy these things, but water would do it.
coast of Japan. Now, this is quite a big earthquake. 7.6 is quite a sizable earthquake. The Japanese are quite well versed at dealing with earthquakes. They're not uncommon, they're very common. However, the risk now is of tsunami. We only need to think back to 2011 to the major tsunami which hit Japan and caused huge amounts of damage and a huge loss of life, and that is going to be the main risk now. Also, just to point out as well, the South Korean authorities are looking at the tsunami risk on that side of the country because they're sort of straddling the sea on that side. So this is a major event for Japan on the West Coast. They'll be having a conference at 9 o'clock Japan time to discuss where to go forward from here and whether further evacuations are necessary, but an evolving story and one that we're going to be watching.
Yeah, Japan's Nuclear Regulation Authority has said that no irregularities have been confirmed at nuclear power plants along the Sea of Japan, including the 5 active reactors at Kansai Electric Power plants. But a tsunami of around 1 meter high has struck parts of the west coast along the Sea of Japan. But Nathan, a bigger wave is expected.
Yes, and there is actually a tsunami warning. There's a different magnitude to tsunami warnings right down the west coast of Japan, because as we've seen before, when these earthquakes hit and the tsunamis sort of roll in, they can affect the whole of the west coast. It's actually very good news because one of the Kansai Electric have said that the power plants are not under risk, because in 2011 that was one of the major problems, was the Fukushima power plant that caused major problems. Thankfully, they don't seem to be too worried about that. However, I imagine they will be telling people from surrounding areas of Ishikawa to evacuate and move to higher ground this morning as a precaution, if nothing else, because when these tsunamis roll in, they roll in quick and people need to take action, and they can lead to a huge loss of life. As I mentioned, Japan is very, very well versed to earthquakes. They have about 1,500 earthquakes a year. They are on 3 tectonic plates, so they can deal with earthquakes. It is always the aftermath and the aftershocks of earthquakes that cause the major problem. That is the tsunamis or fires that are the result of the earthquakes. So that is probably what the authorities now, as we go forward, are going to be looking at as we go through the morning.
And it's not just Japan, Nathan. A tsunami warning has been issued for cities in eastern Russia as well.
Yeah, because these things spread. I mean, you know, a tsunami, an earthquake is almost like dropping a large stone into a pond. If you can imagine, the ripple effect ripples right out. And that is what the tsunami is. I mean, a tsunami, by definition, is the movement of the water when the tectonic plates shift. It's like upturning a plate, upturning a plate of water, and that will ripple out. So anywhere within the vicinity of the sea on the coast that is going to be affected by this earthquake is going to have a risk of
Very interesting.
Tsunami. As I mentioned, it is really the west coast of Japan and South Korea that is most at risk, but also Russia is in that vicinity as well, so they will be watching it as well, all around the coast. But I think Japan primarily is going to be on the watch list this morning.
Nathan, for the moment, thank you. And if we do get any more updates.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing with these, like I said before, it doesn't really, I mean, they have it better than it used to be with some of the warnings, and but they don't, nowadays, I think they just basically give everybody a warning because you can't really be sure where it's going to hit, where the water is going to go.
And you are still with us here on 6 News, continuing to follow that. Again, with higher tsunami waves of 5 meters now, even in Japan, it's not a region. We are continuing to cover this developing breaking news story, and we will continue to do so right throughout the hour. We'll, of course, have the latest news on the hour as well. In the meantime, we've still got our national affairs editor, Austin Pollock, with us. Austin, good evening. What more do we know?
Yeah, good evening, Leo. So we know that earthquake, it struck at a depth of 10 kilometers, and that was at 4:10 p.m. local time, northeast of Anamizu in the Ishikawa prefecture. And we know that apart from those 30 earthquakes that we have seen, that have, I think you said 21 of those that were above 4.0 magnitude, at least there have been also 3 strong aftershocks also reported. According to Japanese authorities that we heard from before, they are expecting over the coming days people to stay on very high alert, and they are expecting more earthquakes to continue and people to stay vigilant for the next 2 to 3 days. So far, the tsunami higher than 1.2 meters has been observed in Noto, and we're just hearing from.
I just don't want to cough anymore. My, I probably pulled something in one of my stomach muscles or something because I've been coughing so much. And good Lord, oh, it wasn't COVID because I took a test, so it's probably just my bronchitis. But this time, it's the coughing has been.
Authorities now that residents were told to evacuate immediately, and that Japanese government is, quote, very concerned about the situation. That is what Sky News is currently reporting. They are very concerned about the situation. We know that thankfully there have been no irregularities picked up at the nuclear.
Yeah, it's and a lot of times people unfortunately don't take things seriously, so they say it'll never happen to me.
Nuclear power plants. That earthquake that hit in 2011 that struck off the eastern coast, that triggered the tsunami that killed 18,000 people, and that of course had the issues with the nuclear power plant.
Yeah, the whiskey for sure. The whiskey. I don't know about the honey, but if I wasn't such an alcoholic before in my life, I would have the whiskey. But yeah, whiskey does help.
And that was a 9.0 magnitude. So this is significantly somewhat less, 7.6, with reports of being even 7.4, but nonetheless quite significant. That vision that we were showing before, also with the amount of buildings that have been swaying back and forth, that is likely to wear them down, and that is what authorities are saying, that a lot of buildings will have some structural, even ones that haven't fallen down, there's going to be a lot of structural
I was talking about earlier about how when back in the Mongolian days, the Khan days, Kublai Khan, when he sent his forces to invade Japan, this is exactly what they freaking ran into. They ran into all kinds of issues. So they just turned around and said, you know what, we're not going back there.
Problems with them, for people to stay very vigilant with those.
He lost both of his armies twice because of that, because of Mother Nature.
Buildings, and of course to prepare for further earthquakes. And we've seen those photos, just buildings crumbling apart, and supermarket shelves, you can see food all over the floors, people evacuated, cracks seen along the ground. It is really a state of devastation, and as more earthquakes are possible, and this tsunami made the major tsunami warning with tsunami higher than 5 meters, certainly a lot more to come on this front. And I think you've been speaking to someone in Japan as well, Leo.
Yeah, I was speaking to someone in Tokyo. I've been communicating with them, and they've been feeling all these earthquakes as well. So they
Yuan Dynasty, the Chinese dynasty, the Yuan Dynasty was Kublai Khan. He finally overtook southern China and thought he was going to be smart and invade Japan too. That didn't go so well because of these things like this. You never know when they're going to hit, and usually when they hit, it's not good.
weren't just limited to this area, although the tsunami warnings are. But you felt right.
I think with him, it was more of a typhoon type thing, but still, in these seas here, the Sea of Japan, South China Sea, stuff like that, you just don't know when things are going to go bad.
Right across the country, felt in Tokyo definitely, and again it's been 30 since about 6 p.m. Australian Daylight Time. 21 of those at least.
Thank you, Charlotte. I really appreciate that. I'll try that.
Above 4.0, the biggest is 7.6, which was immediately followed by 6.3, which obviously has triggered these warnings and continues to trigger these warnings. We don't have a live. Would we bring?
Yep, no doubt. Because if it wasn't for that, he would have basically destroyed Japan too at the time.
Up a live shot if we could. We don't have that one. at the moment, but we're working to follow
Just
the situation. Go on.
also, Leo, as we know, there's of course a risk of not just, of course, from the earthquakes, but there's also fires that have broken out. We've just seen a large fire has broken out, quite big by the looks of this picture. I'm not sure if we can bring it up, but it's from Sky News. A large fire has broken out that is related to the earthquakes, has broken out in Wajima. I hope I get that right. But a large fire, and that is what authorities are warning us, that we could see fires breaking out from.
My dog is having a nightmare. He's shut up. Here.
This earthquake.
Right, and we'll continue to follow that. That is pretty significant, and obviously very concerning. And look, we'll see what happens there in regards to developments there.
See, this is the area right here where they're really concerned about the Wajida, whatever they call it, area here. In this, almost like the peninsula here.
And how that continues to go. Obviously, so much that we're working to learn at this moment. There's still a lot of unknowns at this point. And look, again, the main thing we want to follow here, and that will continue to follow for all of you, is that there are
and a lot of people. It's not the water that's causing the havoc. It's the land beneath it. It's the layers beneath it. The water's just going for the ride, pretty much.
Large waves imminent is the word being used by media there in Japan. 5 meters in the Noto region, 3 meters elsewhere, and look, that is the real concern here in terms of the possibility of bigger problems, like I guess you could say, but also just in general the concern, because some of these waves, some of the vision we're already seeing is concerning enough, isn't it?
Yeah, it is, exactly. And the fact that these imminent waves are expected to hit is very concerning for residents there. And the fact that we're also hearing with further earthquakes, that's likely to even trigger further tsunamis. And that's certainly not something any of the residents would want to see. And we know that plenty of people are visiting there. I'm trying to get in contact with someone who I believe to be is also in that exact region that has been hit. We'll see if we can get them on possibly. But that they are very concerned. There is no power. 36 or 32,000 homes are currently without power and properties, which would make it even harder for people to get.
And
the
I was just
information
going to
they
say,
need.
the vision you're seeing on screen now is moments ago, so it shows the earthquake, and it also just showed the fire as well. So again, obviously a rapidly developing situation. It's getting late at night, and obviously, pretty concerning with the power outages as well, especially for those local hospitals.
Yeah, and as you said before, the hospitals are running on generators, and nurses and paramedics are unable to get to some of those people. No fatalities at this stage, however, numerous injuries we're hearing from the Guardian. But of course, without that power, it's going to hamper recovery efforts and helping people who do need safety and to keep up to date with those warnings.
Absolutely. Look, we'll keep going for a couple more minutes here, and then we'll head to the latest headlines at the top of the hour. But again, if you are just joining us, 7.6 magnitude earthquake hit Japan a couple hours ago, which was immediately followed by 6.3, and that's led to multiple tsunami warnings, including, as you can see there in that purple zone, which is a major tsunami warning issued with fears of 5-meter waves imminent, according to NHK in the Noto region there. In that red area, you've got the tsunami warnings and then tsunami advisories there. There have also been tsunami alerts in Russia's far east and South Korea, and I believe North Korea as well. South Korea is currently monitoring waves. North Korea, there's been a bit of an alert there as well. We've heard reports that some evacuations have begun in, again, parts of Russia's far east, and we're working to get more details on that. There has been some significant structural damage and a number of injuries, no reports of fatalities. The nuclear plant, which is pretty much right smack bang in the middle of that purple area, is not affected in terms of that it's not
No
no,
irregularities.
exactly, no irregularities. So that's obviously good news, and obviously people's minds will go back to the 2011 earthquake, tsunami, and subsequent nuclear disaster. But at this stage, that's the situation, and some of the vision that we've been showing you has been pretty concerning. And again, it's just been one that.
So it's saying here, high tsunami waves of 5 meters imminent in Japan's Noto region. So that's.
We'll continue to monitor it for everyone at home, and we'll continue to follow all the latest developments as it stands. But again, if you are just joining us, didn't mean to show their logo. If you are just joining us, we're continuing to follow in this breaking news on that earthquake. Waves of 5 meters believed to be imminent is the language being used here. Look, we'll take a break. We'll go to the latest headlines at the top of the hour, and we'll continue following with this story. So stay with us here on 6 News. We're continuing to follow the latest, following that 7.
So this is, again, I'll go to the map here. So this is, I'll do the layers here. So this is that little peninsula here. There's Wajima there. There's the Noto province here. So once it enters into here, this is where they're really worrying about the 5 meter type waves here. So if when I back out, just Sato Island, I think that's actually where that whole Mongol thing happened here. In South Korea, so they got waves possible here too. I mean, all the way up into Russia, up in here. So, so this is the Sea of Japan here. So right, this is the area of concern for them, but all up and down here. So anyways, I'm going to get out of here. I want to thank everybody for coming in. Thank you, Charlotte. Thank you, Necessarily Evil. Necessarily Evil is great too. Charlotte's awesome. I hope everybody has a great day. If anything happens more, I'll probably try to cover this later on today if I can. Miranda Lee was in here. Miranda Lee's awesome too. Miss Persevere is great. Thank you. I just thought I'd come on and cover this because I did have an extra night off this week because of New Year's. Like I said, I like covering some of this live stuff too because it's Lynn was in here too. Lynn, I think this is the guy that jumped into my live here. Whoever this is, Chopper Harris. But I apologize for some of the technical issues, but that's what happens when you have lives on stuff like this here. Lives. It's part of the problem, part of the issues. But I thank everybody for coming in, and everybody have a safe and wonderful day. If I don't see you guys again today, I'll probably be back on again next this upcoming Friday for the latest, the usual Friday Night Live stuff. And then I might start having some panels here if anybody wants to come up. So, because I'm pretty sure you guys are sick and tired of just hearing me talk. So I wish you fun, well do, and thank you everybody for coming in. I'll play my outro, and if anything breaking happens on this, I'll try to do another live later. But I also thank everybody for all the condolences about my brother and stuff. It's been a shitty week, literally. But we'll get through it. And not to mention that I just decided to get sick too this week, so that didn't help. But I'll see you all later. Thank you all very much for coming in. Everybody have a great day. Thanks.